My name is Mike Helm. I'm from the Department of Nebraska, and I'm the 2014-15 National Commander. The American Legion in this community, or in fact in most communities all across Nebraska, is a rural community organization, and that's normally the driving force within a community. Back in those days was the American Legion. With the big strong voice that we have, there's a lot of things that we can say, that we need to say. We need to continue to ask for a strong national defense, and so we as the American Legion need to step forward and make that voice louder.
And many of you, as I've visited your departments, have heard me tell the story about flying out of Indianapolis into Dallas-Fort Worth and into Grand Island, Nebraska. And I want to tell a little bit of that again. Late one night after many difficulties into Dallas-Fort Worth, and then had a couple more delays, and then flew into Grand Island, Nebraska. And as we flew along in the late dark night in that part of the country through Texas and Oklahoma and Kansas and then into Nebraska, into Grand Island, it was a real dark night. Not a lot of us live out there. Only us tough ones live out there now. But as I flew along and as I looked out there, I could see every now and then little clusters of light. I finally recognized those clusters of light as American Legion communities, auxiliaries and squadrons doing their part in their community for this great country. 13,500 American Legion posts all across this great land, and that's what we're all a part of. And I got to call in those little clusters of light my little campfires of service, campfires of caring, and campfires of freedom. You're all a part of that, and you're even more special because you've carried your cluster, your light, into Washington, D.C. And together, all of us as an American Legion family, we're ready to hit the hill. We're ready to ask for what we and all veterans deserve. And I want to wish you all good luck in doing that. And I set a goal at the beginning of the year of $4 million. There were people that told me that that was unrealistic. You couldn't set a goal that high for the American Legion family, but we did. And all charities, the American Legion Auxiliary. And today, if you look on on the legion.org, you will see we're at $3,921,288. When they called for donations for charities, the Sons of the American Legion donated over $177,000 to this organization. And all of those, with the quick math, that puts my 4x4 campaign at $4,098,288. My goal was $4 million. We made it. We'll take a few victory laps and continue to raise money for the organization. But thank you all for what you've done with fundraising. My fellow Legionnaires, Legion family, members, and friends. In 1979, the Pittsburgh Pirates shocked the baseball world with a surprise World Series win over the Baltimore Orioles. What stood out about that team was its motto, "We are family." Those players truly bonded and accomplished great things. To me, that's why our organization is successful. When I was elected as your national commander, I had that goal for all of our family members. That's the American Legion Auxiliary, Sons of the American Legion, and the American Legion Riders, that we would raise that $4 million to support our national charities and programs. Well, guess what? Prior to today, this morning when I looked on the website, we had 5,946,357. At one time, I thought maybe if we all worked hard enough, I might end up being the $6 million commander. Well, them Legion Riders have stepped in now with their donations today. It's got me looking at maybe I might be a $7 million commander. It's all because of all of you. Thank you very much for all you do in your donations, how you stepped up for all of those charities and made that part of my year more successful than anyone, including me, ever dreamed that would happen. But on the other side, one figure that especially needs to climb, and that's our membership total. Some departments, as you will see during tomorrow's awards presentations, are doing a great job. Others, well, we've got some work to do. We've got some places to go to make that happen. We are just 4 years away from celebrating our centennial. The American Legion has been a force for good in this country for almost 100 years. If we don't attract new members and keep our existing ones, who's going to provide the leadership and the voice that Americans have relied on for the most of the 20th century? And let me tell you that those post-Legions, Sons of the American Legion and Legion chapters, that are American Legion Rider chapters that are out there working as a family in their community, for the community, and for the veterans in their community, they're growing. I've got Legion, American Legion posts that are over 200% and 150% and have been for 2 and 3 and 4 years. They are successful. Our programs are successful. The reason for our existence as an organization is needed today as much and probably more than ever before. So let's continue to work on that. I have personally seen the respect that is given to the American Legion family. I received a special briefing at NATO headquarters in Brussels, testified before Congress. As a matter of fact, my testimony before Congress and the ensuing questions, that was the longest testimony that the American Legion had ever experienced in front of Congress. And I took that not as a sign of what they might be thinking, except that they were thinking, we want to know what the American Legion is thinking. They have a great respect for us, and we need to take advantage of that. I visited the Oval Office and visited with the President. We talked about claims and appeals. I've been given access over in Laos and Vietnam to MIA excavation sites. Just a little side note on that, while we were in Vietnam, we got some pictures of my cousin who's been in MIA for many, many years. And they indicated at that time they were going to go in this late March and make the recovery of him and Captain Carr, and then some issues came up and they were unable to do that. But it's been my understanding now that this March they're going to go back and do that. I guess as your national commander, there wasn't a whole lot that I could get excited about on that, except that next year, guess what? I'll have my blue cap back. I know some other people that can do something too. So we're gonna bring Daddy home. These opportunities are rare, the positions that I've been in, but they weren't because of me. They weren't just because of me being from Nebraska. They were because of you. I represent you, the largest veteran service organization in the country, and that's where the respect comes. Your membership is why they respect me and our organization. Our current membership window has been open since August
of 1990, that's 25 years, and it won't be closing anytime soon. The Guard and Reserve units have been activated repeatedly to fight in the global war on terrorism, to help with natural disasters. As much as we are enjoying serving America, our country needs a strong American Legion. The unemployment rate for recently discharged veterans is still higher than it is for the general public. That's why the American Legion sponsors hundreds of veteran job fairs across the country. Our national credentialing summits are designed to create a seamless system for integrating military skills and training into the civilian workforce. Some federal laws have addressed the credentialing issue, but it still remains a problem because of state laws and certifications that state agencies require. The American Legion would hope that all 50 states would recognize the talent and skills offered by our veterans. This is a message that we should all be bringing back home to our departments and to our state legislatures. The American Legion has been giving life-changing assistance to thousands of veterans across the country through our Veterans Benefit Centers. The VBCs have already helped veterans obtain more than $1 million in retroactive benefits. Millions of dollars of future benefits will be awarded to frustrated, homeless, and disabled veterans who accepted the lifeline of assistance offered by the American Legion. While we believe veterans are entitled to quality care at any VA, we recognize that last year's crisis required some drastic action. Moreover, many veterans do not live close to a VA and can be better served by local health care providers. That is why the American Legion supported the Veterans Choice Act as a temporary solution until VA can meet the growing need of the veteran. And you all know that people say we don't want to use the VA. It's broken and not good health care. Well, guess what? So many veterans tried to access health care within the VA system that the VA found themselves in a budget shortfall. They had to go back to Congress, and with our support, we encouraged Congress to take some of that Choice Act money to fix a problem that they had already created, and to go ahead and continue to serve our veterans, because we are about serving our veterans one at a time. There were things within the Choice Act in the first place that made no sense. The as the crow flies rule, where people had to drive many miles, but since it was right straight across the pond, less than 40 miles, then they still had to use the VA. There were a lot of things wrong with that. We fixed many of those problems. We also gave access to the VA to use that choice money. But keep in mind and always remember, the American Legion invented VA health care. We're not going to let someone else, no matter who it might be, step in and privatize health care for our veterans. And as people that are running for president keep coming up with ideas, I want you to keep your eye on them pretty quick. We're seeing some, Judge always gets nervous when I say things like this, but we're seeing some pretty crazy ideas out there. And make sure that you're there to stand up for veterans' health care. We must also remember that a career in the military is like no other. We applaud proposals to award 401k benefits for the majority of military members who choose to serve less than the 20 years required to receive that military pension. However, we remain strongly opposed to any plan that diminishes the pension benefits for those who have spent decades of their lives serving this nation. The current retirement system creates a strong incentive for experienced NCOs and officers to remain in the military, even though they could often be climbing a corporate ladder and earn more money on the outside. No matter how it is dressed, when a government commission is created to reform or study military benefits, it is almost always with a purpose to save the government money. Our military members have done nothing that would merit a future decrease in their pay or their benefits. To the contrary, the American Legion strongly believes that in order to attract quality men and women to our all-volunteer force, the pay and benefits offered must be worthy of those who sacrifice so much for us. It's pretty hard to convince someone to stay in the military if while they're deployed overseas, we're reducing the salary, health care, and retirement benefits for that military family. There is absolutely no way that we can address our national security problems without making sure that our military family is taken care of very, very well. We must also remain vigilant about our call for a strong national defense. Much of Iraq has fallen to ISIS. Syria is a mess, and terrorism is spreading across parts of Africa. Our troops are still fighting a war in Afghanistan, and let's not forget about that crazy regime in North Korea. Yet sequestration still looms, and our military is funded at pre-World War II levels. We should not allow our national and elected leaders to pit personal cost and benefits against weapons, modernization, and training. We can and we must do both. We owe it to every man, woman in uniform that the United States will never send them into harm's way without the resources needed to win. And we must be prepared to meet threats within our own borders. While the American Legion has always supported legal immigration for those who have been properly screened and who have obeyed the law, we remain very strongly opposed to granting amnesty to those who enter illegally. At the same time, when ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and other terrorist organizations are killing innocent Americans, it makes no sense to let our guard down and send a message that the United States is open or soft target. Simply put, America must secure our own borders now. Whether you're a brand new citizen or your family has been in this country for generations, all Americans should cherish and respect the flag that symbolizes our freedom and our way of life. The American Legion remains firm in our commitment to protect the American flag from desecration. It is time for Congress to pass a constitutional amendment to make this a reality. I have always believed we are a for God and country organization. It is in the preamble of our Constitution and on the back of every American Legion membership card. Last month, we won a great victory for both God and country. After more than 26 years of battling in the courts, it appears as if the Mount Soledad cross can remain in place. Our friends at Mount Soledad Memorial Association purchased the parcel surrounding the 43-foot cross in California. It shouldn't have been necessary for a private group to have to buy land from the government in order to preserve a veterans memorial, but we are grateful they did. Whether it's the flag, a memorial, or the emblem outside an American Legion post, symbols matter. They're a reflection of our values, our country, and our beliefs. Your posts, squadrons, and units are the individual lights of your towns. They are little campfires of freedom, campfires of communities, and campfires of reaching out. We need those campfires to burn a little brighter. It's up to you to go out there and engage them. I know that you're up to this task. Thank you for listening. Thank you for serving, helping with me this year. God bless our troops. God bless you. And God bless our American Legion family. Thank you all very much.